Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow feelings of any worry, tension, stress to leave your body in your outward breath, enabling you with each and every breath to just go deeper and deeper, relaxed. And the more relaxed you go, the better able I am to influence thoughts, beliefs, ideas at a subconscious level. So much of what influences the day-to-day choices that you make is subconscious. You might choose the clothes that you're going to wear, but you don't consciously decide how you're going to put them on. If you need to tie shoelaces, doesn't that happen almost by itself? So much of the micro choices that you make are the micro movements of an autopilot, pre-programmed for you to follow a trajectory. And at the moment, the destination of your autopilot is almost where you want to be. I want you to imagine that if you were flying a plane, and imagine it wasn't set to autopilot. There's just you flying a plane and a co-pilot. And just imagine, you've got a very fixed idea of your destination. But the co-pilot has a slightly different idea as to what destination they're flying to. You'll make progress to chart the trajectory of this flight, moving in a direction. And every now and then you'll look at your map, look at your radar and see that you're slightly off course, giving you clues that the co-pilot is just subtly steering it in a slightly different direction. And the more aware of that you are, the more you might fight for control and force the plane in a different direction. The more you force, the more the co-pilot resists, trying to take the plane in a different direction. And if currently it feels that you and one of your co-pilots are fighting for control as to where you end up, just let me know by nodding your head. So we have to see where your rebellious co-pilot wants to take you first. This plane is a plane to your future. As you breathe in and breathe out, feel like you're sinking into that pilot's chair. But interestingly, you're going to do something that your co-pilot doesn't expect. Because you've been fighting with your co-pilot for years. And now, you're not. You want to see where your co-pilot is actually taking you. Because if that destination has palm trees, and your destination has palm trees, isn't it possible that you could just both go to the same destination? And as you sit back, put your feet up, there on the dashboard of that plane, look over at your co-pilot and just smile at them. And just say, you're in charge. And perhaps the facial expression that looks back is surprised, nervous perhaps, because they've been playing the role of the resistor, the polarity responder, the saboteur. They've never been a captain before. And here they are with the control stick, a plane full of fuel, and they can take you to the future that they want to take you to. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Because all this time when you've been resisting, you've been taking away from them responsibility. They don't have to do anything. All they have to do is resist whatever you're doing. And now, they are in charge. And I want you to see where they do take you. Into a future, perhaps 1, 2, even 5 years into the future. Imagine feet up on the dashboard, lying back. You've been working so hard, it's now time for someone else to do all the work. And I want you to take them, or they will take you to a future that if they were in charge is exactly where you would be. I want you to imagine you're flying down, no longer in a plane, but almost like a big ship can have a small rowing boat that goes to the island. I want you to imagine that from this aeroplane, an invisible bubble takes you both down to see that future. And I want you to see where this part of your subconscious mind, the part that's been resisting, is showing you. You can see that you're older, but I want you to see the life that you have if this part were in charge. And it's likely that this part will have fun. Maybe pleasure. Perhaps less stress. And if you can see that future, just let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to look for at least 3 key things here in this future that are significant. First of all, I want you to look for what level of freedom exists in this world. And if it seems like there's a lot of freedom here, just let me know by nodding your head. But I also want you to see what there is an absence of. If there is something missing in your dream future, or something that would be in your dream future that isn't here, can you figure out what that would be? It's fine, you can say it out loud. So there's less tension, there's less fear in this world. Less stress, perhaps. Okay. So here in this world, there is less stress. Which means, perhaps, that the reason why this autopilot, this copilot has been steering you off course is because they're fearful. They're fearful of pressure and stress in the future that perhaps you want to take them to. I want you to imagine going back up to that aeroplane. I want you to imagine that you can freeze time so the plane is no longer flying, and I want you to imagine having a conversation with that co-pilot and just ask the question. I want you to ask them that freedom is important to you, but clearly the absence of too much stress and pressure is also something you're keen to avoid. And if we don't go to their future, but also they don't go to your future, but instead go to a new destination where freedom is absolutely there, but also that you enjoy the journey and the destination, that the stress is of a minimal level, there's not too much pressure, and if that co-pilot is happy with that destination, they'll let you know by nodding their head. And if they do nod their head, let me know by nodding your head. Okay. I want you to shake hands with the co-pilot, but more importantly, I want you to ask the co-pilot to take you to that new destination, a destination you're happy with and they are happy with. And then put your feet up. Time goes on, and then suddenly you arrive at this destination. Imagine floating down there in that magical bubble, transparent. You can see that future. I want you to see that future where you see yourself as this kind of person impacting lives in a really significant way. Perhaps you can see yourself. You've gone beyond security, beyond comfort. This is now a life of financial freedom. You get to live life on your terms. Whether you work or not, you decide. How hard you work, you decide. And if you choose to work hard, just know that it's a choice, not an obligation. But also in this future, see perhaps things are very harmonious, fluid, flowing. You get to do what you want, when you want, if you want. Freedom is evident, but also I want you to see how relaxed your face looks. The clothes you wear, you're not trying to impress anyone, you don't need to. Everything that you do in this future is based on choice, based on what you want to do. And if your co-pilot is happy with this destination, let me know by nodding your head. But more importantly, if you're happy with this destination, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine somewhere in this place are 3 overlapping circles on the floor. Huge circles. One represents the career, how you're going to have an impact on the world. Another represents the financial rewards and the freedom those rewards give you. And then the final circle represents the balance you have in your life. There are people that are billionaires but don't get to do anything, working non-stop, stuck in boardrooms. Here in this place, I want you to get holiday vibes. It's almost like it's the future, but every day is a joy. Yeah, there's problems that need to be solved, but you solve them because you choose to solve them. And then imagine, just see a triangular type of shape there in the middle. And I want you to decide that this is the linchpin. This is now a treasure hunt that you're looking out for. This bit where all 3 circles overlap is the key to this dream future. You may have ideas as to what it is, but rather than projecting or speculating, instead we're going to allow the power of your subconscious mind to reveal what this linchpin is for you. If you have an idea, you will test it out. You will try out different things to either prove or disprove whether or not that new thing is the linchpin to take your life in this direction. The parts that's been resisting, their job is to also find this linchpin. And all parts realize that once you find the linchpin, it's necessary for you to achieve this destination. And you can choose a different destination that will have a different linchpin, but for this destination where you have freedom, but also a lack of stress and pressure, this is the linchpin that will enable you to achieve this destination. You're there with your co-pilot, and if the co-pilot agrees that it will help you on this mission to discover the linchpin And once you find it, to use the linchpin to get you to this destination. You're now a team working together to arrive at this destination. Let me know by nodding your head. Now it's time. Climb back there in that bubble. Go back into the aeroplane, and this time feel like the aeroplane is flying backwards, back to your original destination. Except when you leave the plane no longer with a co-pilot you're in conflict with. Instead, a co-pilot that you would trust your life with. A co-pilot that is now seeking to go in exactly the same destination that you are. We don't have to convince this co-pilot to go to somewhere else. You're all going to the same place. All parts want freedom. And if you're honest, all parts could do with a bit more balance. That's why it represented harmony. Because for harmony, the definition is collaboration, partnership, a shared vision. The journey and the destination will be fun, full of freedom to make the choices you want to make, but also opportunities to get better, to learn, and to rebuild burnt bridges within your own mind. And then it's time to leave this place. These are just thoughts within thoughts, ideas within ideas, dreams within dreams, and actually, you're listening to me firmly in the present. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. And starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.